They got everything they wanted: the promotion, the degree, the business, the goal they had been working toward for years, the one that kept them going through every late night, every sacrifice, every moment they told themselves, just wait until I get there. And then they got there, and they stood in the middle of everything they'd built and felt. Nothing. Not happiness, not relief, not pride, not the version of themselves they'd promised themselves they'd feel when this moment finally arrived. Just a strange, hollow, slightly terrifying emptiness, and then the thought they couldn't say out loud to anyone. Is this it? Was that everything? Why don't I feel anything? And then the guilt, because how dare they feel empty when they have everything so many people would kill for? So they set another goal, immediately, because moving felt safer than standing still inside that feeling, and the cycle continued. If this sounds familiar, this video is going to explain something nobody in your life has probably ever said to you clearly. Post-success depression is real. It is documented. It is more common than anyone talks about. And it disproportionately affects the people who work the hardest to get where they are. Psychologists call it Arrival Fallacy, a term coined by Harvard psychologist Tal Ben-Shahar. The belief, deeply held, rarely examined, that achieving a specific goal will produce lasting happiness. That when you get there, wherever there is, something fundamental will shift. You will finally feel enough, finally feel settled, finally feel like you can exhale. But the human brain does not work that way. The moment a goal is achieved, the moment the uncertain becomes certain, dopamine drops, not because something went wrong, because dopamine is not the reward for arriving. It is the fuel for the journey. The moment the journey ends, the fuel stops. And the person who has spent years running on the energy of pursuit suddenly has nothing driving them forward, and no idea who they are when they're standing still. But there is something deeper here than neurochemistry, something that explains why high achievers specifically, not just anyone who reaches a goal, are most vulnerable to this. Most high achievers did not learn to achieve because achievement felt good. They learned to achieve because something else felt bad. Psychologist Gabor Mate, in his research on the connection between childhood emotional experience and adult-driven behavior, found that compulsive achievement is almost always rooted in early emotional unmet needs. The child who was praised for performance but not seen for presence. The child whose love felt conditional, given when they succeeded, withdrawn or muted when they didn't. The child who learned, before they had words for it, that being extraordinary was the price of being loved. That child becomes an adult who cannot stop. Not because they love the work, because the work is standing between them and the thing they are most afraid to feel, the unworthiness underneath, the fear that without the achievement, without the title, the degree, the success, they are not actually enough. So they achieve, and achieve, trying to outrun a feeling that moves at exactly the same speed they do. And when they finally stop, when the goal is reached and there is nowhere left to run, the feeling is there, waiting. Exactly where they left it. That is the emptiness they feel. Not depression about success. Depression about the thing success was always running from. And then there is the identity collapse. High achievers build their entire sense of self around the pursuit. The goal is not just something they want, it is who they are. And when it is reached, when the thing that defined them is now behind them rather than ahead, they experience something that psychologists compare to grief. The loss of the future self they had been working toward. The loss of the clarity that comes with having something to chase. The disorienting, groundless feeling of not knowing who you are when you are not becoming something. So what does healing look like? Not another goal. Not immediately. It looks like sitting, uncomfortably, patiently, in the question that success uncovered. Who am I when I am not achieving? What do I actually feel? Underneath the drive, underneath the momentum, underneath the version of myself I built for the world to see. It looks like understanding that the emptiness after success is not evidence that you chose wrong or worked for the wrong thing. It is an invitation to finally meet the part of yourself that was there before the ambition, before the pressure, before you learned that your worth had to be earned. You were enough before the achievement,